Hey, what's up guys? The Muspell units have finally arrived and they certainly don't disappoint. In this video, I'll be looking over their stats and skills. I also share some build examples for each of them throughout the video, so look out for that. Just like the previous banner review video, I'm only going to go over new skills again, so if you have any questions about anything, just ask away in the comments. By the way, Sylvia ended up demoting at 4 stars and her 4-star skill is Deluge Dance 2. It's a shame that Quan didn't get demoted, but hey, Olivia finally has competition and you can get your hands on Barrier Blade easier now, so that's pretty nice. And that's about it for the intro, so let's just get started. Let's start with Laevatein. She's an infantry sword unit with a stat line focused on outputting high damage. She has that incredibly high 37 base attack which hits 40 with a boon. Not a lot of sword units are able to do that besides a few, which includes Soleil and the 2 Chroms. Her speed is only 31, it's actually quite low in today's standards, but it's definitely still enough to work around and invest in to get her to the point where she can reliably double. It will take a lot of resources in order to do that, but just know that it is possible. The second best stat that she has is her defense. She has 34 base defense and that's actually the 3rd highest among infantry sword units. The 2 above her are Hinata and Legendary Ike, and speaking of Ike, Laevatein's stat line is very similar to his. There's only a point or 2 difference between each stat. Anyways, her magical bulk is pretty underwhelming, 61 total magical bulk with only 31 speed. If she gets doubled by any red or blue mages in arena, I'm certain that she won't be able to survive. With that said, you really have to invest into her resistance if you want her to be able to tank magical attacks effectively. Otherwise, I would recommend just dumping resistance and avoid using her to tank magical based enemies altogether. Overall, her spread isn't my cup of tea since I like my units to have speed focused offenses rather than it being attack focused, but her spread is actually pretty good mainly because it complements her weapon. I'm sure most of you guys are aware of what her weapon does since she's been in the game as an enemy for a while now, but for those that are new to the game, her unique weapon is Laevatein. It's essentially a blade tome sword minus the special cooldown penalty effect. While the effect isn't anything new, it is very unique as it's the only melee weapon in the game with a blade tome effect. She's going to be able to output a lot of damage with it, and you can build her for player phase or enemy phase. She's very flexible in terms of build paths since you really don't have to give her too many offense boosting skills in order for her to output good damage. For player phase builds, Death Blow and Special Spiral sounds crazy. Distant Counter or Fury with Vantage for mixed phase, or the Infinite Steady Breath Quick Repose build for enemy phase. Odd Attack Wave is probably the most optimal C skill for all those builds since it alone effectively grants her 12 extra damage, 6 attack from the buff and 6 extra added from the weapon's blade tome effect. So yeah, it's a very strong weapon that's easy to build around. Make sure to watch out for Panic Ploy though since she's very susceptible to it due to her below average HP stat. Her B skill Attack Defense Link isn't new, but I think it's worth talking about, especially if you're a new player and don't understand her weapon's effect. So Attack Defense Link grants 6 attack and defense to the unit and the target ally when the unit uses a positional assist skill on an ally or when an ally uses one on her. This buff is considered a display buff, so on top of the 6 attack and 6 defense buff granted from the skill, Laevatein's weapon adds those bonuses to her damage, essentially giving her quote 18 attack in total. Her new C skill is Odd Speed Wave, so on odd numbered turns, she's gaining 6 speed from Odd Speed Wave and 6 is added to her damage dealt. She's gaining 24 attack, 6 defense, and 6 speed if we combine all those bonuses given from Attack Defense Link and Odd Speed Wave. That's crazy considering that she's able to get all those bonuses just from her own skills. And by the way, I do think Odd Speed Wave in general is better than Even Speed Wave. Like I mentioned in a previous video, turn 3 is usually when your team is close enough to the enemy's team to start player phasing them safely. Even Speed Wave is better on enemy phase units, but I usually associate speed with units focused on player phase offense rather than enemy phase defense. The rest of her skills are Swap and Fury. Laevatein is an incredible offensive unit. With her unique weapon, she has the ability to output amazingly high amounts of damage with minimal setup. And like I mentioned earlier, her weapon allows her to run many different kinds of builds. She's a very versatile unit. Her default set, while it's not optimal, it does have synergy, and that means she doesn't require heavy investment for her budget sets. With that said, she's going to be great for new players. As for veteran players, I don't think there's much incentive to spending orbs to try and get her. While she is unique and is able to output high amounts of damage, there are a lot of sword units in this game available that can fill the same role. I mean, unless you're trying to plus 10 merge her, I think she'll most likely just be used as an arena assault unit or maybe even just sit on the bench. However, she's not bad to use in arena when she's a bonus unit though. As for boons, I would try summoning one with an attack or speed boon. It really depends on what type of build you plan to give her. I would prefer an attack boon to increase her attack from 37 to 40 and give her a one-shot KOing build, but a build focused on doubling is perfectly viable. Best bane for her is certainly resistance. I can see my speed working for enemy phase builds, so don't be too upset if you get those IVs. Up next is Laegjarn. She's a sword flyer, which first and foremost is awesome. It's always great to see more sword flyers since there's only 7 including her. While 5 stars are nice, I do wish we would get a wider variety of 4-star sword flyers, but I don't see any of them dropping to 4 stars anytime soon. Maybe Alencia might drop down to 4-star already in update 3.0, but I highly doubt it. Anywho, Laegjarn's stat line follows a similar trend as the other sword flyers, at least in her offensive stats they do. Sword flyers usually have okay-ish attack with high speed, and you can see the similarities there when we put her side by side with the others. What stands out about her though is her extremely high 36 defense. That's 5 more defense than the next sword flyer, which is New Year's Camilla, and 36 defense ranks her as the 5th highest defense among all sword units. It's the same as Hinata's, 1 more than Black Knight's, and a few points less than the armored units. Combining her hella high speed and defense makes her a very difficult unit to take down in enemy phase. She has the potential to prevent a lot of doubles, which means enemies won't proc their specials as quickly, and she doesn't take as much damage from normal hits. However, her weakness lies in her resistance stat. She has the 3rd lowest resistance among all sword units, and she can easily be taken down by dragons and mages. Nevertheless, she has an excellent stat line that can be built for either phase or both. She's a tanky, speedy unit, therefore she doesn't have to run Desperation in the B slot. That slot is free, so that opens up more options for builds. She can go mixed phase with Safeguard, Steady Stance, Wind Sweep, and Close Defense 3 Seal for free attacks on player phase and plus 19 defense in enemy phase. She can also go for a more offensive supportive build like these two, or maybe a Flower Emblem support set that grants plus 12 defense and resistance to whoever she teleports to and repositions. Guidance Seal could also work for that set if she's put on a mixed emblem team as well. There's just so many possibilities with her sets. She's definitely a lot of fun. Her unique weapon Niu grants 3 speed passively, which increases her speed from 36 to 39 or 39 to 42 with a speed boon. In addition, it adds 50% of total bonuses on foe to units attack, speed, defense, and res during combat. Think of it like a flipped Blade Tome. Instead of adding 100% of the total bonuses on the unit to damage dealt, it adds 50% of total bonuses on the foe to all her stats excluding HP. So for example, if an enemy is granted plus 6 attack from attack tactic and Laegjarn engages in combat with that buff foe, then she takes 50% of 6, which is 3, and adds that to all her stats. If she faces a foe granted with all 4 tactic buffs, then she'll gain a total of 12 in each of her stats. It seems pretty crazy, right? But it's very situational. Most teams in Arena I see stat combat buffs rather than display buffs. You might see a few display buffs here and there, but I think her gaining 12 in each stat is pretty unrealistic. I think her gaining 6 is probably the average. She can easily gain 6 just from fighting a foe that's buffed by Rally Speed Defense Plus or 2 of the lower version of Dual Rally skills. Moving on, her new A skill is Red Dual Flying 3. This is the Arena exclusive skill that causes a lot of noise. It grants 5 HP passively in all modes. However, in Arena, the unit equipped with this skill, their BST is treated as 170 BST. So what this means for Laegjarn is that in Arena, she normally scores the same as the units with 160 to 164 BST, assuming that they are equipped with similar costing skills, but with this new A skill, she now scores the same as the units in the 170 to 174 BST range, which includes Winter Robin, Male Grima, Winter Chrom, and Zelgius. Do keep in mind that this skill is inheritable, so what you can do is give this skill to any of the red flyers out there and they'll score the same as the units I listed earlier. You're basically trading the unit's stat boosting A skill for more arena points. The most popular candidate is probably Flying Olivia since she has a unique weapon, and more importantly, she's a dancer, so she isn't affected by the fact that this skill blocks her from using a stat boosting A skill. However, here's the catch. In order for her to maximize her arena score, she'll need to replace her dance skill for a dual rally. Dance only costs 150 SP and dual rally plus costs 400 SP, which can push her arena score to like potentially 3 whole bins. So dance kind of kills the idea behind this skill. On the flip side though, if the extra points given from the dual rally skill doesn't affect your arena tier status, then just stick with dance. I mean, the choice between dance and a dual rally really depends on where you stand in arena. As for the controversy behind these skills, most players don't like it for the fact that Intelligent Systems basically acknowledges the problem behind the arena system. Some units don't score as well as others, but instead of fixing the arena system itself, their solution is to release these skills behind a quote-quote paywall, so you can give it to any unit you like and score well in arena at the same time. I think that's the issue here, but I mean, for the guys in whale tier already, this won't change anything. This skill doesn't make units score the same as the 175 BST armors. It really only affects players in tier 20 and 20.5, and if you are already in those tiers, then this doesn't affect you at all since you already have the units to consistently stay in those tiers. The good news is that it does add variety to tier 20 and 20.5 arena, but it's kind of the wrong way to do it. I would have liked them to just fix the arena system itself, but hey, what can you do? I don't think these skills are that big of a deal, but if the effect made the unit score the same as 175 BST units, then that would definitely cause some chaos. The rest of her skills are Bonfire, Chill Attack, and Distant Guard. Laegjarn is simply amazing. She has a stat line that is somewhat unique to sword flyers. She has decent attack with very high speed and defense. The only unit comparable to that is New Year's Camilla, but Laegjarn clearly has the better spread. And because of her spread, she has great flexibility in her builds despite the fact that she's restricted from being able to inherit some of the more powerful skills due to her class. Her unique weapon is very situational, but during the time when it does work, it's incredibly powerful. And if you don't like it, well, good news. She's able to viably use basically any type of sword out there pretty well. And let's not forget about her skills. She has an excellent set of fodder skills. There's Red Dual Flying, Chill Attack, and Distant Guard. For boons, I would highly recommend plus speed. I think having a speed boon will widely increase your ability to run mixed phase builds more effectively. Plus attack is of course always good, but speed is preferred. Best bane is definitely resistance despite it being a super bane. It's already very low and dumping that maximizes her physical bulk. Last hero of the banner is my favorite, it's Helbindi. He's an infantry X unit and has one of the best min-max stat lines that I've ever seen. I'm going to rank his stats with all the infantry X units. 35 attack is the third highest, his defense is the second highest, and his resistance is the highest. The only way he could achieve those numbers is by having less points distributed into his other stats, which most of the points were taken from his speed. His speed is the lowest among all axe units, but that's fine. He has amazing defenses, so you should give him skills that focus on increasing those great defenses furthermore, so when he battles in the enemy phase, he's able to tank several hits and charge his special quicker. And obviously, quicker post is going to be essential for all of his builds. He's not as flexible as the other two units in this banner. His playstyle is a lot more linear, but he performs very well in his role. The classic distant counter and quicker post build works. My personal favorite is Steady Breath Guard with Quick Post 3 Seal. That's actually the same build I run on my Hawkeye, and speaking of Hawkeye, Helbindi power creeped him so hard. He's better in every single stat that matters, plus he has his own unique weapon. This just means that Hawkeye really needs to get his weapon refinery update soon. Helbindi's unique weapon is Bilister. It's basically Odd Spectrum 2. It grants +4 in each stat to the unit and adjacent allies, so not only is he great for combat, but he's also a decent supportive unit. I usually love these type of units since they can do so much, and having this type of skill allows your team to run multiple combat buffing skills instead of filling those slots with display buffing ones. But the thing is, teams should really start using their display buffing skills in the form of dual rallies. Actually, most players already do that, mainly to increase their arena scores, but once all the dual rally plus skill combinations are released, Bilister isn't going to be anything special. Like, it's decent for now, but later on it'll quickly get overshadowed. New A skill is Green Dual Infantry. It's the same as Laegjarn's, except Helbindi's is only inheritable by infantry greens. I forgot to mention this in Laegjarn's segment, but these dual skills cost 300 SP, which is the same as Distant Counter, so the skill itself is great for points. Anywho, I've already explained everything about this skill in Laegjarn's segment, so I guess I'll talk about the best candidates for this skill. Performing Arts Azura is obviously the top candidate since she's the only green infantry dancer with a unique weapon. Legendary Lyn is a good one as well, even though this skill kinda kills her combat performance, but hey, the points are what really matters here. Literally any good infantry with a unique weapon is a good candidate, so a few other examples are Sonya, Merrick, Lewin, Deirdre, Julia, Raven, Dorcas, Brave Ike, and etc. Just remember that merges are more important than BST when it comes down to points, so don't expect a 0 merge unit with this skill to score higher than, let's say, a +10 Nino or something obviously. The rest of his skills are Vengeance, Guard, and Infantry Pulse. Helbindi is the min-maxing god. He's awfully slow, but the other stats make up for his terrible bad speed. He carries great mixed defenses, which is quite uncommon for an axed infantry unit. Every axed infantry unit has lopsided defenses besides Helbindi, Hawkeye, and Libra. But compare the mixed bulk between these three units. It's almost not even comparable because Helbindi has 7 more defense than those other 2 units, and that's huge for someone that's guaranteed to get doubled. 7 more defense means that he's reducing 14 damage, which is a lot. I will let Libra off the hook though, since he can be built for both phases, but Hawkeye, man, rest in pepperonis. 1 like on this video equals 1 prayer. The only thing Hawkeye has going for him is the fact that he's easily summonable and easier to get merge levels for. But getting back on track, even though Helbindi's playstyle is linear since he can only perform well on 1 phase, he does that extremely well. As for his default skills, they are solid. They may not be the best for fodder, but he does carry some key skills that are used in his optimal sets. As for boons, I think he has several good ones. I think he can't go wrong with attack, defense, or resistance. I personally would go with a res boon to balance out his bulk. It's what I did with my Hawkeye, and he's been performing great with it. He's even able to survive Summer Young Tikis and bring her down to very low health, so I would assume Helbindi could do the same. Best bane is obviously speed. That's his most disposable stat. Alright, so time for my unit ranking. I'm not going to do a skill fodder ranking for this banner since it really depends on how much you want the new arena skills. I do think Helbindi has the weakest set of fodder skills, but if you really want his arena skill, then obviously he'll be ahead of Laevatein. So for the unit ranking, I have Laegjarn and Helbindi at number 1. I think they are both top tier in their respective classes. You can't really go wrong with either one. Number 2 is of course Laevatein. She's an outstanding unit, but the sword infantry class is just so oversaturated and there's a good handful of sword units that can fill her role. Overall, I think this banner is a good banner to summon on. All 3 of them are great and they carry some good skills as well, but before you spend all of your orbs, you should definitely wait before summoning because this banner is out for a month. You should wait to see what the future banners have before spending anything, but I know most of you guys are probably dry already. And to wrap things up here, I want to know, what do you guys think about these new arena skills? Do you like them? Do you dislike them? Let me know in the comments below. And that's going to be it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And as always, thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one.